welcome to the Call to Learn Table Talk.
Okay, so first thing, reminder to the two of us, this table moves, so don't touch it.
Don't touch the table. All right, I won't.
We'll bounce the camera all over.
So we're down in Cedar City at my sister-in-law's house, and we are doing it live here. So we've been helping them with their basement, and we've been here, and we got delayed a little bit, so we are going to do it here live. So that's why the different background.
Like it really mattered, right?
Who knows?
Okay, so I'm more a little flustered today. You probably just barely got the email that said to start, or if you were fortunate, you might have gotten it right off of the website. But welcome, and so Trista, why don't you tell them what we're doing with this today?
So just a little reminder of this Saturday is our Call to Learn conference, the February session. We're going to be talking about dads and what dads' our role in homeschooling and education in with their children is. So today we are going to talk about recording, and that's going to be really exciting. I love this subject of recording and finding out how people do things differently. Yeah. And you'll see them in the videos today because some of them are like
a few different unique ones.
I don't do anything. And then all of a sudden, I do it this way, this way, this way, this way.
They just don't realize.
Right, exactly. So I wanted to start out with a little survey that I did on online. So I've been studying in Old Testament, and I read in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 2, and it reads this: "Write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book." So in other words, write down all your inspirations. So I asked that on Facebook. I just said, to my friends and family,
how do you do it?
Well, how do you do it? What do you write on in your inspirations? And guess what I found? It was so kind of cool. LeMay said, "I write from the beginning, just like the Bible." Lori Tidwell says, "Notepad scattered all over my place." Donna said, "In a composition notebook." So that's a good way. She probably has lots of them, huh?
Oh, I imagine.
And Becky says, "I write it in a yellow legal pad or in my life story notebook." And then she optimizes it, which I think is really a good point. You don't just write down it, but you actually act on it, right? And Danetta says, "I write it in Word." And Christopher says, "I write it on a blog." And Krista said, this is what I thought it was so funny because, well, I'll tell you in a second why I thought it was funny. So she says, "I have a scripture journal just for insights I get during my scripture study. I have a different journal for my dreams.
Oh, I know why you think this is funny.
And I have a prayer journal for answers or inspiration during my prayers. And then I also have journal for anything else." So why do you think it's funny?
Because you have all that and more.
Yeah. So just recently I started a faith journal, and it wasn't working for me. It's like, this isn't working. I can't figure out. It's not fun. It wasn't interesting. So I wanted to change it up a little bit. So I started creating journals in my OneNote, and now I have, I don't know, 7 probably different types of journals, and I write in them every day, or at least most of the time every day. So, and I love that. So I'm like, yay, somebody else that has 100 journals, but not that you need it, not that we're promoting that, but that's what I do, and that's what she did. All right, so our first video today is Anelity Millen, and she was such a joy to interview. She had a lot of good insights, and it was kind of fun. Well, you'll see in her video that she's, everybody kind of stumbles on this question when you ask them, how do you record?
I think it takes them off guard for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason people are like, wait, I don't think I do record.
Record? Do I record?
Yeah.
Because is it because people just think it's, well, recording is saying, okay, I did this and this and, physically recorded things?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or I make a record, today I did this, today I did that, or something. I don't know what people think exactly. But it takes them off. But as soon as we start talking, then, oh yeah, I do it this way, and I do it this way, I do it this way.
Yeah, there are all kinds of ideas.
All right, so let's listen to Anelity.
Okay.
I want to know how you record your learning. Like, not just make a record, right? But how do you bring back those memories for your kids, and that they get to look them up and things like that?
Like with our scrapbooks?
Yeah, if the scrapbooks is the way.
My son is a scrapbooker.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
So we have tons of scrapbooks. And my oldest daughter is kind of an artist.
Okay.
So she did a lot of scrapbooks too. So we have, we went to the New Orleans, and we mucked out houses with a group of homeschoolers, and we have a really awesome scrapbook with all of that in it. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some people put pictures on the wall. Some people do sculptures. But yeah, I just wanted to know how but scrapbooking is it for you guys?
Yeah, for us, and picture taking, we
That's
like
good.
that. Journals, though, I think my journal has a lot of writing in it about what we've done and what we did. And now that I think about it, that's going to be a good record for my grandchildren.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, that's mine. Mine is journaling. I love to write every day and discovering something new about life and putting that in there. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fun.
There are a lot of different ways to do it, isn't it?
Oh, there's 100 different ways. Yeah, one of the ones I learned yesterday was about record keeping. Was they just did their traditions are their records, and I thought I did never think about traditions are their records. And like, yeah, because we keep doing them over and over and over, we can go back and think about our traditions and how we do that. I was like, of course they're records. I just didn't even think of that. Anyway,
How cool
so I
is
just love
that,
to learn
right?
different ways. Yeah, really cool.
I didn't even think about that. That's probably true. We do an individualized Christmas card every year, and that kind of records
there you go.
the growth of our
That's
family.
a great record.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
My husband draws. Well, and then my daughter, once she started getting really into Photoshop and all that kind of stuff, she could Photoshop all of our faces and.
Oh wow, very nice.
And now
she does music too. She writes her own music.
Well,
that's another record.
that's my other daughter.
Yeah.
And last year, that's exactly what we did. My husband wrote a song. He's a parody writer. He likes to take songs and change them. And she recorded it.
Wow,
so yeah, I didn't think about that.
There's another record keeping.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's a good idea, actually. I didn't think about, we could post all of our little videos that we do on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.
My daughters are awesome at that.
Okay, let's share. Yeah, that'd be fun. See, okay, what are we doing? How many people have different ways of recording? Because there's so many ways, and we're supposed to be a record-keeping people, right?
Yeah.
And so there's hundreds of different ways now. With
Yeah,
the
there are.
technology and stuff.
My daughter just texted me a video of my granddaughter saying, "Never give up, never surrender." This little 2-year-old.
Very cute. That's awesome.
And that's definitely a tradition. We like to quote famous people in our house. So
Nice.
Okay. Get your last little notes in there.
Yep, I'm
Okay.
getting my notes. I love taking notes, so I'm taking notes again.
Okay. So that was kind of cool. I liked how she talked about her husband and writing a parody song. It was writing a song and then her daughter performing it. And all that was a cool way to record, because once you've recorded it, it's permanent. It's there.
Yep.
You've got it. So that was pretty cool.
Yes. Great ways to implement recording. So I've been making a record of all of these different ways too. That's funny. Making a record of what they say. Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we're going to ask Tom. Tom.
Okay. We love to try to stump Tom on these.
Yes. How do you record?
Okay. So I was telling you earlier about the one example of when I didn't want other people to read what I was doing. After I returned from my mission, I would write in Italian, but at the risk of someone actually knowing Italian, or being able to decipher it because of Spanish, I would write it with Russian characters because I was studying Russian at the time. Because that's kind of fun.
So this is your secret journal, like no one's
Yeah.
ever going to read, right?
Yeah,
Not the one you're writing for posterity or
but
anything like that.
I guess there are some other records I keep.
Okay.
Like when we talk about the three voices in your head.
Yeah.
You've got your own, you've got God, and you've got
Yourself.
no, I already said
your own?
Yeah,
God,
Satan, and one of the ones I do record down in a black journal that I learned from one of my mentors, to write down the things that Satan says to me that are not true. And the reason for that, it sounds a little weird to keep it. I know a lot of people go, "What, you're writing down and keeping negative? That sounds like negative energy and hurtful and all." But in reality, it's like putting them in prison. Those words, and so when Satan tries to tell you that again, you're like, I already took care of that. It's no longer an issue. It's gone.
It's already in my black journal way over there.
It's already there.
Yeah,
I don't need to worry about it. So that's another one. But I was just
so maybe
thinking,
you proved it to be a lie, therefore you're not going to believe it again.
right.
Okay,
But if
that
I
makes
didn't
sense.
keep that record of it, then I might forget that I would, that I'd overcome that. So I was thinking of another one. In my position of helping people to record CDs, that was interesting because people were really nervous about recording their CD. And when I started to talk with people and understand why, it was because it was now a record. It was permanent.
Yeah.
So now they're nervous about getting it perfect.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing to know about records. It's not about perfection. It's about keeping a record. Keeping a record of what you're learning, keeping a record of your insights and whatnot. And then finally, there was one more I'll bring up today. And that is, I did a couple years ago, I did a challenge where every day I would do a quick video blog post on just my thoughts for the day. And so now that's another record.
Cool.
So there's some records.
Yeah. You reminded me of what President Packer said about going to the musicals with his wife. Remember that? And he says, I hated musicals. I did not want to go, but I was determined to make it work. So I thought I would just write down a one-liner thing that was valuable to him. And so then he started liking the musicals because he was going for a reason, and he would record that.
So what you're saying is possibly recording can help us appreciate what we're learning, even if we're not excited about it.
That's a good insight. Yeah.
Good insight for you and in teaching your families, or for yourself.
Yeah.
In learning that.
Okay. All right. Well, next up is forgot his name, Christopher and Melanie Ballard, and they are going to be talking to us also about record keeping, and they have some fun insights that they discover as they're talking. So it's so fun to do couples. I think that's my favorite thing to interview.
So here you go. This is the Ballards discovering how they record, because they didn't realize it until they had the question asked.
Yeah, that's right.
So here you go.
How do you record your learning? And let's think of it on a personal level first. So, have you ever thought about learning? How do you record your learning?
I personally record my learning every day. I journal, and and maybe this is a bad thing, but I purposely sometimes write in my fast handwriting or my messy, almost like I am not writing for an audience. This is for me. And I know that you're supposed to record for posterity, and this is so important and all of that. But there's something that changes it. I think my kids, I will now write a lesson for them to read.
Yeah, and it changes that personality.
It does. And there certainly is a time and place for that. But for me, I write every morning and record what God wants me to do for the day and my feelings. So I can be really genuine. And so I can be like, look, I'm messing up here. I need help here. This is, or I have these feelings, blah, 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 and let them be very real. And then I have God write back to me, and I write in that. And I write. Beautiful. And then I also, in hopes that no one will ever read it, I can be open and saying, I think God is actually telling me this, and I can be kind of brave and faithful in saying this. And this is a really important way for me to record my inspiration and because I'm thinking it through, I'm writing it, and then I can go back a few days, and then the ones that lots of times I was a little bit scared to, like, I'm going to write this one in horrid handwriting or a different language or something. So no one can read this one. I'll go back and I know what I wrote, and I'm like, hey, awesome. That was right. And so then I have confidence the next time, and I can. So I think writing is a really, really, really powerful way to be able to listen and solidify inspiration, and then go back and review it. Mm-hmm. And a very important thing. It's not necessarily the academic records, but again, it's the records that I want the inspiration. So that's how I personally do it.
Okay. And how do you personally do it?
I'm not as good of a journal keeper as Melanie is, but I try and keep a steady journal while I read my scriptures. Mm-hmm. But I think, as Melanie was talking, it made me think about traditions that we have in our family. And I think that is a way to record in our children's memories learning and things that we, like we have a family mission statement that we have memorized and that we repeat when we do a family council or when we at family home evening. Not every time, but and so that's a tradition for us. We have a tradition of we cook a huge breakfast when it's general conference, and we get great treats, and and everybody looks forward to general conference.
I have to interject. We had a son. He was probably 12 or 13 at the time, and he said, "I don't know what I like better, Christmas or general conference."
Wow.
And it's because
Wow,
much of this tradition.
beautiful. Yeah,
recording in their memory in this, and I was like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
Just and family reunions, that we make family a priority, and family trips that we take. I think those kinds of traditions are imprinting on our children and recording for them.
I love that.
All of our vacations have a theme.
Oh.
And we center it around, and so some have come from Chronicles of Narnia, and many from scriptures. Almost all of them have come from scriptures, and then our vacation centers around this, and we pull it out, and we teach every day, a couple of times every day from it, and have activities, and go on adventures, and we live what we're learning.
Beautiful.
From our themes. When we went to Nauvoo, we pulled out a scripture. And we had a song, and we got a notebook, and had them write, on things that they found that fit the things. And again, the kids don't do perfectly, but it worked well for us, and we still love the themes.
We try.
So our vacations are a lot of work preparing for in some ways, but they're fabulous.
Wow, that is beautiful. What a cool theme. That's a really cool thing to have a theme for vacations. I love that idea.
And they expect it. What's our theme this year? First year we had mystery people come, which we were each mystery person coming as someone else, but they remember these things really well. And it's
great. And that keeps that memory in there even better. Mm-hmm. Wow, I love that. That's incredible.
We saved some of our mementos from it and put it over our stairs and stuff when we made a little flag or just little things, and so that you can remember things that or become part of our family.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another way you record then. Right. Is it not?
Yeah,
right.
We display
and put pictures up. That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, love that. Yes, traditions are a great way to record. Yeah, because you can always go back and look at them and always, well, what about this year? What about that year? Yeah, right. It creates that memory in there that's solidified in there forever. Right. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's really good insight.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's really good insight. Yeah.
Okay, the Ballards. So, what did you like best about the Ballards?
Oh goodness!
You had you're like writing a book right here. Yes, you're recording a whole book.
I am. So it's interesting to me to look back. We've now done 34 different interviews, and some of them are very memorable. And I say the Ballards are probably the one for recording. They were the most memorable, and they were one of our first recordings. And when we said we're going to do record keeping in the month of February, I'm like, well, they're getting the Ballards for sure because they were so good. Anyway, I think it was I don't know, the traditions and the themes for their vacations. That was the best part for me. Because, of course, I love themes, as you know.
Well, right.
And you said, does that mean we're going to have themed vacations now?
Not in a bad way, but
no, not in a bad way. But I was like, absolutely, I want to implement that. Absolutely, I want to implement that in my life. And I think that's one of the reasons I love doing these interviews is because I get to learn and take what I want to do in my life. And I hope that's what you can too. So what was your favorite part?
Well, I just thought one of my favorite parts was when she said that her son said that he didn't know what you like better, Christmas or general conference.
I know.
Because of the traditions.
Love that.
Because of the things that they do. But, our kids have that same type of, maybe they don't say Christmas.
Yeah, compare it. Yeah.
But they certainly get excited about conference time coming up because of the traditions we're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
And
but they also get excited about St. Patrick's Day.
Well, that's,
another,
that's traditions. That's a different one.
Because
This
it's another
today's
tradition.
recording. But I liked what
Christopher.
Christopher said about recording. In that, in with traditions, in that he said we record it in their minds.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he said this, but I think, yeah, in the heart.
Yeah.
Because when you're having a tradition, you're having things that have that much of an influence on you, then it gets in your heart, and you're recording it.
Yeah.
It may not be something that someone else can see, but certainly it's getting recorded, and it's part of recording.
Right.
Because same, we hear that all the time about recording as far as writing things down to help us remember. Certainly that traditional thing gets it written in our hearts to remember.
Right. Yep, that's true. All right. Do we want to do a training piece, or do we want to do a relationship tip next?
Well, I think our relationship tip is next.
Okay,
And it's ready,
let's do that.
pretty close, except it's not because we were talking and I wasn't.
Okay. So our relationship this time is the pause. And just as important as last week's was brief inserts, this one
I like how she
is
says that. I like how you say that. You say
just
as important, meaning it's one of your two favorites.
Yes. Yes, it is one of my two favorites.
Okay,
All right,
here
it is,
the pause.
Hi, I'm Trustin Neal,
And I'm Tom Neal.
and today's tip is the pause. Ooh, this is so good! I interrupted you. I was so excited to do it. All right, Tom's going to teach us about the pause. I'll be calm.
So you're talking with someone, you're having a nice conversation with someone, and they stop talking. What do you do now? They just stop talking. Now, the natural thing usually to do is to jump in with your story.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do it.
Okay.
I mean, you can sometimes, but we're talking about the pause, so don't do it. You're having this conversation, and it's getting pretty good, and then the person is sharing, and they stop. And this is really important.
Especially
Okay.
for parents.
I was going to say, especially when you're talking with your kids, and then I realized it's really important when you're talking to your spouse
Yes.
or your coworkers. Or,
Okay, for everybody.
So when they stop talking, let them stop. And let the pause be. Now you've heard of that when someone's giving a speech and they're supposed to pause and allow it to get a little awkward and let people think about it.
Yeah, and let us.
But you're doing it, this is the opposite. This is the other person's talking to you, and you're going to pause.
And they're done talking, and you're not going to ask any questions. You're not going to say anything afterwards. You
No.
let that pause get
Awkward. So let it get a little awkward. And then, after it's gotten a little awkward, they'll speak up again. And when they do, this is the cool part. Because when they start talking again, they are going to tell you about things you didn't even know to ask.
It's like secret.
It's like, well, you've been following the conversation, you've been paying attention to what they're doing and following their clues and everything, but they're done talking. And you didn't realize when they start talking and they'll start telling you things.
That you really want to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
But you didn't know you should ask them.
Right. You didn't know the right questions to ask. So when they feel awkward, they're like, oh, it's awkward. It's getting more awkward. What do I say? And they start talking and sharing things that they would not have normally. So as a parent, you think, oh, let that awkwardness be. Let them know you're still listening. And they're like, oh, I have a listening audience. I'm going to say something new.
Well, and it's like if you jump in, moms and dads both are really good at this. You've been listening to them and they stop talking, and now I can teach them a lesson.
Yeah.
Nope. It's not lesson time. It's time to let them talk and find out a deeper meaning. It's like when one of my mentors taught me that when you ask a question and they're looking down and they're looking into their emotions, it takes a while for it to come up and surface the answer. Well, it's the same kind of thing. It's those things that are deeper.
That awkward pause creates the
upward movement.
And
then they talk.
They talk about their feelings, and they talk about the things that you didn't know that they needed to talk about.
Yeah.
So
So-
the pause is super important.
The tip of the
In
pause.
fact, I would say if all of the tips, do that one.
It is really one of her
It
favorites.
is. Yeah. Thanks.
So the pause.
Yes.
Which
the
we did
pause.
just as I did the video because I forgot to click the video twice. Anyway,
Oh,
there's the pause.
okay. All right. So I hope that helps you with your communication skills with your spouse and with your children. I think it does. It helps mine a lot. In fact, I think the pause has helped me develop the most strongest relationships that I could with my children before they left home.
Well,
So-
yeah, I see that definitely. Even like with Cheers and Today, he's struggling with some things, and to just keep after him doesn't help.
Yeah. Just to
So
listen.
I had to just pause, and he wasn't saying anything either. But it just made he had to know that I was paying attention.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So now I want to do a little teaching tip.
So
go
here
ahead
we
and turn it.
shift.
And it's called Insights, and this we got from I don't know if you guys follow Michael Hyatt, but he is insightful, as you can see, insights in a lot of different areas, and one of the areas is in recording. So he likes to take books and learn about them and write about them, and it's like writing up a book report. So this is kind of like a book report. And I found this this morning actually, and I was thinking, oh, this would be so perfect. So I wanted to share it with you, and we'll send you the link also with how to get a PDF of this from Michael Hyatt himself. And but I just wanted to give you some insights on it. Haha, literally. So the first thing you write down in the book is you write down the information. So this is information. And that is like the book title, the book name, the publisher, what year it was published. It could be how many pages it is, what kind of categories in a book. Is it a nonfiction, fiction, that type of thing. All right, so
How you rate it.
That's true. How you rate it. That's really important. I think to go back and look on it and how you rate it. Anyway, so the first thing you write about is just the summary. Oops, I think I put too many M's. Okay, summary. So you write a summary of the book and what you think of the book is about, and just write your own summary. And the second one is insights. What did you get from it? What have you learned from it? And then the G is for glitches.
That one sounded weird when you first said it to me.
Yeah. So glitches really are just what you didn't like about the book, what you disagreed with the author about. Because sometimes that's what you remember the most about reading the book. It's like, oh, she said it this way, and I would not have done it that way. Just glitches.
Well, I don't know if you remember the War of Art, not the Art of War,
Yeah.
but the War of Art.
Mm-hmm.
And it was based just the way the person wrote it and the types of things that they said. I was like, no, I have to write my own book now.
Yeah.
Because I have a totally different way of looking at that.
Yeah. The H is for holes. What is missing from the book, or what did you think that they should have talked about there? What was missing? And then T is takeaways.
Yeah, and then when you said that, I thought, well, isn't that the same as insights?
Not really. Takeaways are more like what you're going to implement, what you are actually going to do. Yeah.
Your actions.
So this is insights of what you learned, but this is what you're actually going to do. I think that's how I separate them out. And then the last one are snippets. And these are just quotations, either quotations that you want to go back to and refer to, or quotations that you want to memorize. So things that, or just really good paragraphs. There are oftentimes you can be reading a fiction novel and say, that statement is so cool, and when I remember that, well, this would go in your snippets page. So I just wrote this up as a template in my books journal, and so whenever I read a new book, or I'm always reading like 5 different books, so I could have 5 of them different open, and I would say, hey, this is a great quotation. Well, it goes into here. Oh, that's something I want to implement. That goes in here. That type of thing. So Yeah, so it's an invitation. This is just a way that you could record your information that you get from your books.
Okay.
All right.
So, what I've been thinking about during this whole day, because when we decided to do this, and then as we've collected the different people's responses, as we found this today, I've been thinking that I need to take a moment during this time. So this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. During the next 3 or 4 weeks, as we're talking about recording, I'm just going to start looking for different ways that I appreciate that for recording. So, for example, this one for books.
Okay.
And just find out how different ways I can record that
that work for you.
That work for me.
Because everybody's
because
different.
just trying to say, okay, we need to learn to record. This is how we should do it.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's the same as anything else. We've got to find ways that work for us.
Yeah.
So that's my commitment, and I'm going to invite you to do the same thing during these next few weeks as we're discussing it. Hopefully, you did something similar for curiosity, and now for recording.
Yeah.
Think about ways that you can start using different methods of recording, or just look for different ways. Search for new ones. Maybe the way what you're using right now, it's kind of old, and you want to change it up and do something different and maybe a little bit more meaningful for you, or go back to a way you used to do stuff and pick that up again.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my suggestion.
Okay.
And so the next is this Saturday. Remember that this is now, we're in a new month, and we have Saturday, and this Saturday is our Call to Learn for February, and we're going to be talking to a couple and some dads, and 2 couples actually were involved in our research for this, and then
some great insights on fathers and educating their children. And it's not just homeschoolers, so it's just education of parents' responsibility to educate their children and
right.
what they do. So it's really fun to hear other people's
From dads.
insights from dads,
from
especially.
dad's perspective.
Yeah. And so we've got a mother also that talks about dads. So anyway, I can't wait for next week. Or the Saturday.
Yeah,
actually,
it's not next week.
Conference.
It's Saturday.
Yeah,
it's coming up fast.
Yep, it's coming
so
up.
remember that Saturday, 10 a.m. on Mountain Time.
Okay. And I just wanted to conclude this session with a thought. Is that I used to not record anything because I would say, it's just so messy. I don't want to write in this journal, and I don't want to write in this journal, or it's not organized, it's not well organized enough. Okay, that's interesting about me. I didn't think about this. Anyway, so I never started because I thought it was too messy. And I just want to invite you that we are a record-keeping people, and that Mormon did not think about that when he was asked to take all of these journals and to compile them and to make an abridgment and make it into the Book of Mormon, because he had all of everybody's journals, and he couldn't create the Book of Mormon had they not been recorded, messy or not messy. So I invite you to start if you haven't started, or to continue if you're thinking about giving up, because record keeping is important. And it's good. Whether it's going to be used or whether it's not going to be used, it doesn't matter. But recording is what we are supposed to be about. So best of luck to you is the coming week, and we'll talk to you next week more about recording.
Okay, that's it for Table Talk today.
Thank you.